Hi, and welcome back to the episode of the History of Fan Anime. I'm your host, William Chow, and today, finally get to the very important episode that a lot of people have been finally waiting for, is the remaining of the top 30 animes of the 1980s. And today, we're going to cover the last year, 1989, and we're going to go over some of the titles in that one. And then once we finish, we will then have completed our top 30. So it's really good, and exciting that we're going to finally get into complete this and make the list. Now, there's lots of titles on there. It's only a top 30, and there's already a good number of titles. So there could be a quick big mix up in the current number of titles on there. So it's definitely going to be challenging because there's a good number of movies and OAVs that come out in this year. So it's very good. So before I begin actually going through the titles, again, I want to remind people to go down below, click subscribe. That definitely does help the algorithm. Just if you could just at least leave that, leave a comment about a particular video, that'd be really great. It really just helps YouTube algorithm work. If you also want to support me financially, I also have the super thanks button activated, as well as the PayPal and Patreon links down below. Again, that really does help out. I really appreciate that. I got some extra episodes coming out. I have fully updated the anime database, so you can check the link below, and it has all the episodes that I've done all the way up to present, as well as I've added all the interview links for all the various different interviews I've done for other channels and whatnot, as including my own, on there as well. So do check those out. They're also available. Today's topic is the final completion of the top 30 for 1980. So again, I've already gone through every single year and broken down all the significant titles in both TV series, movies, and OVAs. And now I've gone through every single year and taking those titles and basically making a top 30 and basically swapping the titles in and out all throughout. And now we're finally down to the last year, 1989. Once I complete this one, we'll have that list there. So this is really exciting to get to finally done all that. And after maybe we complete that, I'll continue on to next year and see what we got. Okay, but right now, let's concentrate on 1989. Okay, so without further delay, let's begin. Okay, we go back to our list again. Here we have on the left-hand side, the top 30 titles for the entirety of the 1980s. We have, of course, the TV shows and the movies, which we've already done. And, those are on the previous episodes. So today's episode, we're going to concentrate on the OAVs. Okay, so that's the center column down the left-handed database there. On the right-hand side, that's all colorful, is basically the My Anime list that I've done. And we've gone through all the years, all the way from 1980 all the way to 1989. And so now we're on the very last year, 1989, and we're doing the OAVs. Now, the big significant thing that you can see about the graph is that there is a significant number of OAVs for 1989. Indeed, there is 56 OAVs for this year. So, this is only a top 30. So obviously this could really, really shuffle what's going on here. Okay, so we go down the list here, and we go to the section for 1989, and we've got 1989 broken into 4 different sections here. And the middle column again is the OAVs that are the most significant ones, according to the My Anime list. Okay, and so we'll quickly go through the titles that we are dealing with for 1989. So we have Legend of the Galactic Heroes, the Gunbusters, Gundam 0080, Riding Bean, Cypher, Midnight Aigai Goku, Orange Road OAVs, the Crusher Joe OAVs, the Rhea Gall Force, Borgman Midnight Gigs, and the Gunbusters Mini Science Lessons. We continue on with more Curse of the Undead Yoma, the SD Gundam Mark II, Riki O, Cleopatra DC, Samurai Troopers OAVs, Fuma no Kijuru, Explorer Woman Rei, Lupin III Bye Bye Liberty. We also now have Gunbusters, Bubblegum Crisis, Megazone 23, Angel Cup, Bao, Guyver, the 1989 version, Shin Captain Tsubasa, Earthian, Legend of Lenmar, the SD Gundam Char's Counterattack, Blue Sonnet, Ariel, High Speed JC, Cinderella Express, the Borgman Last Battle, and Shin Wataru. And in the last quarter, we have B-Boy, Ease, Midnight Eye Goku 2, Project Echo 4, Sigard, Assemble Insert, Shootin' Doji, Demon Hunter Yama, Golf Force Earth Chapter, Aim for the Ace Final, Dog Soldier, Darkness of the Sea Shadow of the Moon, Lock the Superman, Dan Cougar, the Burning Epilogue, and Shurato, the recaps. So quite a few titles to deal with. So let's go and deal with the easy ones first. So these are all things that are already on the list. So we're just going to add these titles onto the existing titles that are already on the list. So those ones would be Legends of Galactic Heroes, Gunbusters, the Orange Road OAVs, the Crusher Joe OAVs, Rhea Golf Force, Borgman Midnight Gigs, Samurai Troopers OAVs, the Lupin Bye Bye Liberty, Bubblegum Crisis, Megazone 23, the SD Charged Counterattack, Borgman Last Battle, Project Echo 4, Golf Force Earth Chapter, the Dan Cougar Burning Epilogue, and the Heaven Wars Shurato recaps. Okay, so those will either all be added to existing TV series franchises, movie franchises, or OVAs. Okay, so proceeding on, I'm going to be picking the 4 titles from the remaining that really needs to be added, and I'll start with those. So the best 4 remaining would probably be the Gundam 0080 series, Riding Bean, Legend of Lenmar, and Ease. Basically, Gundam 0080 is, it's because Mikimoto's first attempt at actually doing a Gundam series. Very well done. It's a nice different angle on the conflict of Gundams, and basically all seen through the eyes of the kids, right? So it's really kind of a nice thing, a nice short OVA. So definitely one to check out. So that should be added onto the list for OVAs of Gundam. Riding Bean, very very popular right now because again, Kenichi Sonoda, with big hits like Golf Force and Bubblegum Crisis, all this stuff is really 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 big kind of stuff that he's been putting out. And all of a sudden he releases Gunsmith Cats and Riding Beam. So definitely this is one of the pivotal OVAs for this series, so that should be added. Legend of Lenmar, this is in the era of the rise of the best known Breast Man. Basically definitely a con favorite, and definitely a lot of people love his artwork because of the way he draws the female body, especially certain parts of the female body. So definitely that's a very significant a title for that. And the last one I'm going to do is again the Story of Ease, mainly because of the popularity of the video games. Because I said this is a Famicom really made special effort to making different parts for Ease, both on the original Famicom systems, and of course Ease was a really big popular game on the TurboGrafx / PC Engine platform. And so this is one of those first OVAs that came out, again based on that sort of role-playing Dungeons and Dragons type of feel, right? So definitely that should be added in because of that. So we go back to our list here, and we go look down, and we've got to find 4 titles that need to be bumped out to take these in. So I'm going to be right away looking at the Galaxy Express 999 OEVA. Now I know that this was a test OEVA, to see whether the movie was going to be really good. So again, we got the movie listed in the movie section. So I'm going to remove the OEVA from this section and put the Gundam 0080 in there. So that's easy. Riding Bean is go going to go in where Demon Hunter, Demon Hunter Rem. Again, Rem had the problem of it was nice, but the problem with it was it failed to have translations at the time, and because of that, it missed out a lot. And again, it also missed a lot of licensing at that time. So that's one of those animes that sort of fell through the cracks. I think people would have probably thought that even like Devil Hunter Yoko was probably more popular. Rem was maybe a little bit too cutesy with the animals and that kind of stuff. So again, Riding Bean is a good replacement for that. Legend of Lenmar should probably go where, let's see, next one down the list would be probably Cosmo Police Justy. I mean, I like Justy, and I thought it was a fairly decently animated show, but again, it suffers from the fact that even though it had a comic, no one went after the anime for that, right? I remember that was one of the very first sort of comics that sort of came out in the early days. That had some translation for the manga, but no one pursued the anime, and as a result, we never really got a good thing of the anime. Otherwise, it probably would have ranked a lot higher in the ratings. So yeah, definitely, Legend of Landmark, definitely, I'll replace that with Justy. And the last one is Ease. So looking at video game titles, obviously I'd have to go with the Digital Devil Story. Okay, so now again, these are two video animes that spawned a video game franchise. I'd have to say that the Ease franchise is definitely larger than the Digital Devil Story because just it was had more games made for it, as well as it ran across all platforms. So again, the East franchise was definitely a bigger IP, right? So definitely, I'm gonna put East in for Digital Devil Story. So that would take the main four off the list, and we'll make those corrections. Okay, so to continue along, I'm gonna pick the next four titles on the titles I think I should add and take a look at here. I will probably go with Aerial, Earthian, Angel Cop, and Assemble Insert. Okay, so I'll start with those four. And now I have to go down the list and let's look at the, shall we say, the bottom four. Let's see what's left here. I'd have to go with Black Magic M66, Outlanders, the Devilman OAVs, and Angel's Egg. Okay, so let's kind of look at these titles here. So if I'm looking at Black Magic M66, I'm looking very early in the franchise of things that are like manga and that kind of stuff. It is a one shot, and of course they did make better things later on from that same sort of concept. If I compare that to something like Earthian, manga done by Yun Koga, it was probably one of the very first sort of animes that I think the female audience was really attracted to, especially in the early OVA kind of era. Even before things like Utena, Sailor Moon, and that kind of stuff. Probably about the same time that Samurai Troopers was really getting popular. So because of that significance, I'd have to weigh it a little heavier on the Earthian side, and also Earthian has more OVAs as well too. So so definitely the popularity and the the marketability was a lot higher. So I'm gonna usher in Earthian over Black Magic M66. The next one I'm gonna go with is Outlanders. Now Outlanders again, Joni Manabe, very popular manga artist. I mean, again, in the early days, when there wasn't very many mangas and that kind of being done with comics. I mean, obviously there were things like Outlanders. There was things like Cosmo Police Justy, Area 88, and all that kind of stuff in the very, very early days. So it did have lots of exposure, in the very beginning, and they only released just the one OVA in the very outset. But again, if I look at something like, say, Angel Cop, right, also one-shotter, that came out at a time with all these sort of really, really dark and really dirty, kind of sketchy sort of like drawing style, the Wicked Cities, the Battle Royale High School, and that kind of stuff. But of course, they did a really good job with the female character in this case. So the action was really good, really crisp. So, and I think a lot of people, when they first started getting into this new sort of anime at this particular time, a lot of the new titles that were being released had this sort of
touch to it. So again, I think one of the things that really came out top at this time was something like Angel Cop, was Midnight Eye Goku, Peacock King, and things like that. Those are all on the list. So for that reason, I think Angel Cop should go in there, and over Outlanders. So that will add that one. Next one I'm gonna go with is Devilman OAVs. To say that I did not like this particular version of Devilman. Go Nagai's art style for the most part, with a few exceptions of maybe like the Suit and Doji, Cutie Honey. Even with the Devilman series, I never really liked it, even until they released like Devilman Lady or something, right? I know it has a good background and everything to it, but it's just one of the things that really I find important about anime is the character design and art style with it. That's what I'm giving Devilman the minus, especially this particular version of the OAVs. So I'm comparing that with the other two titles I picked out, which is Ariel. Ariel has a much deeper background in terms of the manga and that kind of stuff. I'm already gravitated because if they name an organization called Skebe, can't go wrong with that. Just for that, nicer character design. Definitely, even after this much time, they still continue to make the model kits and that kind of stuff. Devilman Crybaby was horrible. So even just as a franchise, I mean the character design and that kind of stuff just got even worse. I mean the story was all right. I wouldn't say it's outstanding or anything or anything new in concept, but man, I think the guys just got even more lazier when they made that stuff. So I'm not speaking very much about the franchise as it is. I'm putting Ariel in place, and the last one here, putting Angel's Egg versus Assemble Insert. Now Angel's Egg, some of the guy that does Vampire Hunter D will later on do artwork for Final Fantasy. Amano does a really nice job of the artwork in this particular show. Only problem is that Angel's Egg was one of the ones that he really didn't get much release or much press to. Because everyone, when you think about, will immediately point out, usually Vampire Hunter D is like number one thing that he does. If they had to rank a number two thing that he does, it's usually going to be Final Fantasy, okay? Now, on this list, I've got two things from him. I've got Angel's Egg and Amon Saga in the OAVA section. And both of those things, really low exposure. I mean, if you're gonna talk about Amano, this is gonna be his third or fourth or even further down the list of things that his accomplishments, right? So when you talk about him, it's usually gonna be Vampire Hunter D right at the top. So for that reason, I'm gonna if you put together something like Assemble Insert, even though I would say the artwork isn't really that high as a caliber as, let's say, even something like Angel Cop or that, done by the same guy who does Pat Labor, just in a funny sort of way. You can even see some of the parallels, from like Commander Goto and that kind of stuff across the line there. A fun series in terms of marketability. They made more. They obviously made more episodes because they made two of this one on that one, and more soundtrack kind of stuff like that. So definitely. They marketed it better. So definitely, I think in terms of market penetration and the number of viewers, followers for that, the background base for it, I would give it to Assemble Insert over Angel's Egg. Again, just because Amano is way better known for the Vampire Hunter D as opposed to things like Angel's Egg and Amon Saga. So those will probably be the things that they'll get eliminated in the next one round anyway. So I'll add those ones. So Earthian, Angel Cop, Ariel, and Assemble Insert goes in. And we'll take these three out, or the four out, Black Magic, MC6, Outlanders, Devilman, OAVs, and Angel's Egg. As I said, this is where it gets really, really tough, is to weed these ones out, and to see whether or not they see them. So this is where it's, this is what I would do for this one.
All right, so there we have now a good completed list. This is probably one of the most sort of comprehensive lists that actually looks into each of the different titles and that kind of stuff, and not a list just built out of favoritism and titles that you just personal tastes and that kind of stuff. I tried to be more objective and look at how these values and that kind of stuff are on this list. So anyway, we will continue on the next video when we get more of these videos done. All right. So until next time, I will see you again.